Hello again. I'm Andris. I'm from CUBE Systems. I'm CTO there. CUBE Systems just develops web projects, basically. My job there is to oversee the development and also to start up new projects and to understand what the clients want. I've been making different web or software solutions for like 20 years now. Anyone still remembers how you make layouts out of tables? Shit. It'd be fun times. Yeah, we didn't have a Git as well. Software development and project development in general is always changing, right? And with generative AI, it is again shifting and changing, and it's still finding a place inside our businesses and how we actually develop software and projects. And today, most of you are coders, right? So you probably use AI to help you code. But today I'm gonna want to talk about how we at CUBE use prototypes or generated prototypes to actually help build projects faster and build them better. Yeah. Let's imagine that I come to you with an idea, that a project I want to build, which is easier for you to understand if I come with a bunch of pages and I don't know, tasks, or if I come with you with a working kind of design prototype that you can click on and interact with. I would say most people would find something visual, something interactive, more easy to understand than just text, right? But still today, in a lot of companies, a lot of places, we still use these abstract lists and abstract text as a way of communicating what needs to be done, what needs to be built. And if we're starting a new project, the client comes and we talk about what needs to be done, and we collect requirements, maybe we draw some wireframes, then we go to architect and he figures out how this might be built, then we go to designer and draws a nice, beautiful design, and then we show it to the client. But it's probably been already a couple of weeks, maybe even more, until the client actually sees if we have understood what he wants, right? Of course, there are better approaches like design sprints and agile, right? But it's very difficult to get the client to commit for 5-day design sprint, right? So our approach at CUBE now is to try to crush that time of when we can actually see a prototype or something visual for our clients or stakeholders into like 1 or 2 days. What we do is we make these workshops. We call them discovery workshops, where we gather every stakeholder. Those are the people that actually want this project to exist. So those are the clients or their colleagues, people from our side, the experts that knows how to build stuff. And we go into very serious detailed workshop where we lay everything about the project down. Basically, we do a project canvas where we outline what are the goals of the project, what are the customers, what are the needs. We draw user flows and so that everything is kind of covered about the project and everyone understands what the needs are. So we do that in Miro, but you could do that in any whiteboard, physical or virtual, whatever. We also use AI to help with that. Basically, you can just validate some ideas, you can generate some data, or you can just make notes with AI. All those little things help. But where it really shines is, and what really has changed the process is that now we can generate prototypes almost instantly, right? So during these workshops, we collect what needs to be built. People there already have ideas of how they might build this project, right? So we can already give it to an AI, hey, generate this prototype with the knowledge we have already, right? And it spits out a working software, something that you can actually test, something you can click on, right? And something you can validate. And this prototype becomes a conversation, right? After some time, when we have collected all the requirements and build this prototype, we can actually give it to a client, so he can just take it on his phone or computer and see what we think the product should look like. And when you see something, you instantly know if it's right fit, what needs to be added, what needs to be removed, because while it is abstract in text, it's very difficult. But once you actually have it, it becomes quite easy. And of course, we change things. We change, we iterate, and we go in this kind of loop until we all agree that this is something viable, and this is something that actually resolves those goals that we set out in the beginning. So when we have the prototype ready, most likely it's still going to need to be polished afterwards. Especially for large projects, it might take a few days, maybe a week, to actually polish the prototype, so it covers like everything in a project. But once you have it, you can go set out for budgeting, you can go test with real users, you can go look for board approval or investors, and you can start developing. So yeah, that's why I think this is a very nice approach. And when you have these people in the room, these stakeholders, usually the project managers or business owners, right, and you have experts, it's a very rare situation when you have all these people in the same room and everyone knows what needs to be built, because we have gone for 2 days through all the needs and requirements and we have tested it. So at this point, this is the best moment where you can make decisions. This is the best moment where you can make changes whilst you are developing, because you have all this context in your brain, right? So yeah, this is a very nice place where you can change things, because iterations cost minutes, not days. If you have to go to designer and the designer goes back to the client, it can take a lot of time. But if you can do that live, basically, it takes nothing, right? You can change menu 15 times and it's like half an hour instead of weeks. There is no translation tax, basically, because everyone is in the room, everyone sees what you're trying to do. There is no, I forgot about the context that we had a couple of days ago, right? There is no translation in documents for designer what to build. Everything happens right now. Yeah, and also, of course, you reduce risks, because you don't invest a lot of money before you see the product. A couple of times we have had workshops where the result of the workshop is that we cancel the project, because it just doesn't fulfill its goals. So what's the point of moving forward, right? And sometimes you just completely pivot, because you understand that, this is not cool, and I want it in a different way. So, I mean, as all of you know, it's the best time to pivot is the earliest possible, right? Before you have written any code, before you develop anything. Yeah, and when you have this finalized prototype, I think that it's also very powerful to have this working prototype you can actually touch and then interact with and show people. Because if you get prototype a few weeks later, you have maybe you or the client has already changed the ideas what the product should be, right? But if you get it in like 2 days, you can just go forward. You can go to your investors, you can go to your board, and show, hey, this is what we want to build, right? Just give us approval, and you can move forward. Try going to investors with requirements. It never works, at least in my experience. Yeah, and of course, also for developers, it's easier. Like, who likes to read a long list of specifications? Probably no one. So it's nicer if you just give them something interactive, something that looks like it works, right? So developers can focus on architecture, focus on technology, and how to make it so it works completely, right? So, okay, how we do it, how we generate these prototypes. How much of you know what Lovable is? Oh, like half. I would say a little bit more. Very good. So I think that's the most popular kind of prompt to app tool. Basically, you just give it a prompt and it generates a full app with everything. And all of them, like Replit and V0, or Bolt New, they all do the same thing. They are quite good at what they're doing. If you tried them like a couple of years ago or a year ago, they have improved a lot. They're quite amazing. And I would suggest starting with those. These guys are, I mean, they do everything basically. But if you are a designer and you like your design systems and you're just used, you know, working in Figma, then maybe you want to try Google Stitch or Cloud plus Pencil, and those will just generate design files basically, and you can change your. They will also generate design, these styles that you can change and everything updates instantly. Or if you're a programmer and IDE is your home, where you only have terminal on your machine, maybe, then it's also you can just generate with your AI agent that you use for programming anyways. Like they generate good code, maybe a bit longer. So yeah, also you can just combine them. At least my approach is that I use Lovable for building a prototype. Sometimes I ideate with some other tools like Gemini. I ask for some different elements, you know, because I want weird select with different 3 inputs or something, you know. And I would use that on the side. But when I'm happy with the prototype, I need to tweak something. Sometimes I just switch to IDE and Cloud. I download the code and continue there, because sometimes I find that it's easier to express myself in code than in text. It's easier to change something. But yeah, you just need to find the tools that speak your language, the ones that do the job fast, quick, and that you like to use actually. So, okay, for demo, how to start. Basically, this is a Lovable. This is what you start. We start with the prompt. So, where to get the prompt? Basically, you could ask Miro, because I don't know if you know, Miro is a virtual whiteboard. Basically, you could. It also has an AI, because everything has AI now. You can ask its AI to generate prompt for Lovable, or you can just, I don't know, export a PDF and just give it to Lovable as well. But I don't think that's a good approach. It might work, it might not work, but yeah, here the control is quite important at this stage. So I would suggest just writing prompts yourself, at least in the beginning. So this is just an example of a prompt. Like I give an overview of what the project is, in what style I want. I want it mobile first, minimal. I want it white background. I want it responsive. If you have a layout in mind, just tell it what the layout should be. If you have sketched layout on a paper, just take a photo and give it a photo. It will understand, most likely. Yes, just work navigation. I want, some charts. This is kind of calendar app that gives you stats about your meetings, like how much time you have wasted. So yeah, just give them some charts, have a navigation. This is good first start. I could try to show it. Maybe. So yeah, it takes like 5 minutes to generate the first one, so I just did it earlier. But this is the result of one prompt. So it just generates a full React app with everything I asked it to do, right? These are the charts, days, whatever. It doesn't have other apps. It doesn't, like these are not implemented because I didn't ask him to implement it. And you can just, there are multiple ways you can edit this. So you have like visual edits, or you can say, do I have a network? I do. With visual edits, you can just point at element, describe what you want to do with that, like remove it, or let's say we don't want this. Remove, and it will remove it. Or you can just say, I don't know, I want it in red color, or I want it, I don't know, to say something else. And you can just I don't know, let's say we want a settings button or a logo button, right? So it already removed that what we asked, basically just remove. And you just give it commands and it just does them. Simple, right? And you can also just take a look at it in like tablet mode, in mobile view. If you want, you can see the code. It's all right. The wobble is very chatty. It will create a lot of code, but it's a good start. I mean, it's good enough for prototype, definitely. Still thinking. I guess it is. Thank you. Sorry? I see it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, well, you just add buttons, right? So this is how you basically do it. You just do it iterative, slowly. You just build up the prototype. It's takes time anyways, right? But it's much faster than coding it, or even drawing it in Figma or something. And you get used to it, like how it works, and it becomes easier, faster. And I will try to switch back to my presentation. Where is it? Very sorry, I don't know which way the display goes.
It's the threshold.
Now we got the mouse in the correct place. So yeah, tips like how to get better results with these prototypes. Basically, you try to go step by step. If you're going to give it a very short, very ambiguous prompt, just create a calendar app, right? It will make a lot of assumptions, and then you will spend half a day cleaning out all of the things that you didn't actually want there. So try to do it step by step, slowly. Focus on front end. It can do a back end as well, but if you do a back end and front end together, it is more difficult to pivot afterwards. If you have only front end, it's just one layer, right? It's easy to change everything and nothing going to break. But if you have a back end as well, then it has to do both, and sometimes it's going to break and it's going to be more difficult. So if you, for a prototype, you almost always only need front end, right? You can just write little functions anyways. Yeah, focus on making don't be perfectionist. It doesn't really matter if it's rounded corners or if it's squared corners, unless the client explicitly asks you to do so, right? Just make it quick so that you get the idea across. This is used as a prototype, as a source of truth, like what needs to be done, not exactly how. If you can provide and validate data, it's basically what kind of objects you're going to work with. Like I have users, I have companies, I have, I don't know, events, calendars. So if you ask it a data structure, it will provide one, and you can fix it and give it back. It's just going to have a better, you're going to have a better results if you have a good data model, as of course. And also, it's good to have backups. All of these things usually have versioning, but also any prompt can break anything before, right? It does less now, but still you can just download the file, so you can have a GitHub, so it just commits everything, every change. And also I suggest adding navigation, even if your app doesn't have one. It's just easier to work with it if you do it in a structured way. If you have like distinct kind of categories of things you want to build, you can remove navigation later on if you don't need it. It's just easier to kind of test and go with it. Yeah, and also if you have built the prototype, it's not the end of what you can do with these products, right? One thing I like to do is, no one likes to write user stories, but we still need them. to kind of communicate the progress of the project. So you can just generate user stories from the prototype. You get it in the Excel sheet, you review it, it's all good, you import in your Jira or whatever, and you have your tasks, tickets, right? Also, yeah, you can just generate things like data structures out of the, it's a prototype. It understands it fully, so you can get a lot of things out of it. And also, it's a good starting point for production. You can take some elements from it, maybe not everything, but yeah, and some pitfalls, things to avoid. Yeah, don't add too much, because it's still a project, and it's easy to generate stuff, right? You can generate, whatever, full Facebook, but someone will need to make sure that it actually works. Someone will need to port it for production code. So still treat it as MVP if you talk with your clients, work with your clients. See if it still aligns with the project goals. Don't add extra things that are just that doesn't add any value, because you're still going to have cost. Code always have cost, right? You need to maintain it. Also, expectations for stakeholders. We have had multiple times when we generate prototype, and some CEO says, "Oh, this is nice. Just change the color and publish it," right? But of course, you need to have these expectations that this is a prototype. We can publish it technically as a production code, but we should not, because it doesn't work. It's vulnerable. So yeah, just be clear about that. Yeah, and also just don't deploy it to production. It always has security vulnerabilities. The code, someone needs to check it, like human eyes. Of course, also they are better now than they used to be. It used to be that they're terrible at security. Now it's a bit better, and also they have internal checks if they are secure enough. But still, I would not go for production right away. Use this as a prototype. Especially for bigger projects, you can't go to production anyway, because you need to have integrations and all kinds of things that it will not generate. Yeah, unless it's an internal tool. Like at least we recommend that if this is an internal tool for your company and it's behind the VPN and you don't really care what happens to it, fine, deploy it, use it, whatever. And yeah, again, don't use generic prompts. Use generic prompts, you get generic results. Just be specific what you need. Yeah, that's more or less. Yeah.